What's going on, freaks? Yeah. I've got the, I'm using my old OBS right now. It's a little easier to use for, you know, I have the guest on, so. Just wait for people to show up here. Thank you, subscriber. I don't know if you can do the masks or anything on this the software that I'm using. So don't spend the money on doing the masks. All right. So we're going to be going over tonight the Amanda Goodman case from May 16th, 1989. All right. And it's in a town called Brownwood. And I believe it's Texas, right? Is that right? Yeah. Brownwood, Texas. And it involved, you know, Amanda Goodman was 13 years old. She was at school. And then she left school at like 3:30-ish, you know, maybe, you know, who knows, 3:45. You know, but around 4 o'clock, apparently she was abducted on her way home, and then she was found, you know, around 10 miles south of town on the side of the road. But we'll get into all that information here in a minute. So how's everybody doing? Yeah, and the guest that we're gonna have on, her name is Judy Shank. She's actually in different articles that are online. She is a close family friend and has been really one of the only people still trying to get the case solved after all these years, or at least publicly. And I don't even know what's going on with the rest of the family, but I guess. We can talk to her in just a minute. She's not on video though. It's just audio. So I'm going to switch screens to Google Earth here and unmute Judy. So hey, Judy.
Hey, how are you?
How's it going? Hey, pretty good. We've been talking a long time.
Yeah.
About on this case. Months, really. I mean, I think since I covered it originally. But maybe you can tell us what your relationship is with the family as well.
Okay. My mom moved across the street from Barbara, who is Sissy's mom, and her family in 1985. I was 5 years old, and we met Amanda then. We started going to church with Sissy's mom, and I mean, we had, 4 more years after that with her before this nightmare happened in our little small town.
Yeah, it's so you're pretty close. You know the family really well now.
Yes, I still know them. We were raised up. My sister and I didn't have any local cousins, and we were always, told that was our family, and still today, I talk with her oldest brother at least, once a month. Here recently, it's been a lot more with the holidays and trying to get new eyes on this case.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me like it's a case that should be able to be solved,
It seems like it,
especially with
it's been a long 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the new technology that they have now, you'd think that this one would definitely be solved. I mean, it seems like it to me anyway. So maybe we can go through that, what happened that day. Okay?
Okay.
Because you and I went through it and we really tried to figure out like exactly all the locations. I don't know, was it maybe a couple months ago? Or
Right.
maybe
Right.
something like that. So this is the school, and what was the name of the school?
Then it was called the Brownwood Junior High.
Okay, right now it's Brownwood Middle School.
Right. Correct.
Okay, and then she was last seen. Maybe you can explain that.
Okay. I have clippings that are over 30 years old, and it was reported back in May of '89 that she was last seen across the street from the school at an old restaurant, and it was called the Sticks then. The building's still there, but it's no longer called that.
Okay, and that's this
And
building
that's where
right there, right?
yes, and that is where the paper says that she was last seen at, or she was, seen at.
Okay,
And this
so
would be on her way to her apartment if she was walking. She would have cut right through,
right there, right?
this driveway, yes,
yep.
and she would be going left, which is toward the apartments they lived in at the time.
So she would have walked like this, and her apartments are right back there. So probably
Yes.
something like
Yes, I
like
do believe that
this.
Stewart Street right there, and that's where she would have walked down.
So down Stephen A. Austin Drive, and then right
Yes.
on Stewart, and then left
yes.
on 4th Street, and then into
Yes.
the apartment. I mean, she may have cut across like this,
Correct, because her apartment was right there. Yes.
Yep. See, we've got it all mapped out from a long time ago.
Yes,
You
we
see,
do.
you see all those yeses? It was awesome.
We've done good.
Yeah. Okay. And let's get the. Let me. You know what I'll do? Let's put the actual route on here. I hadn't thought of that, but we can get. Then we'll have the distance always known to us. So it'll be, something like, we'll just start right here, and then probably right through there, and then up. Here, I'll show you what I'm doing. You can kind of see what I'm right through that parking lot.
Right.
And then up like this. So she's on Zoom and she's able to see my screen live with me. I don't know how far behind. Well, I don't know how far you guys are behind. Not too much though. Okay, and then something. And we live in the real world, everybody. So she has kids, and I have a couple dogs.
Sorry.
And my wife's home, and they might be doing stuff. She just gave me a grimace, or a sneer. My wife. Okay, let's see. So something like that, right?
Yes.
And then I'm gonna make it so we can see it better. And that distance is 1.125 miles. So really not that far for a kid to walk,
No.
And let me save that. Okay. But then but she never made that route.
No.
She was.
Not that day.
It sounds like she got into a car, probably willingly with somebody, right?
Yes.
And she would have only maybe gotten the car with somebody she knew, you think? Or what do you think about that?
I feel that she had to very, very much know them. One thing I want to be very well known about Sissy is, for one, you have to think it was 30 years ago, so times have changed so much. But she was like the most innocent 13-year-old you would ever meet in your life. I mean, she still played with Barbie dolls. She was not into boys. She wasn't into makeup. Nothing like that. Like, she was so innocent. So for her to get in the car willingly, it had to be someone that she knew that she got in the car with. And when they found her, she was found with her purse and her notebook, so she didn't fight to get in. I mean, she still had her stuff.
Yeah. So now let's get to that part. So she went missing, and just merely an hour later she was found. So whoever killed her they wanted her to be found. Okay.
Yes.
It wasn't, but it definitely not close to town, because they wanted
Right.
time for something. Who knows? But
Right.
Judy and I never really could find the exact spot for a long time, and then we were looking at, I think, let me try to load up one of I do have those newspaper clipping. So here's this newspaper clipping right here.
Yes.
Okay, this appears to be the spot where she was found, and they're just kind of looking around through it. Okay, so I think if you look at this tree here, and then based on other information we were looking at, I think that it's probably right here. So let me go to Street View here, and you look, and then here's this tree here, and it looks very similar to that tree. You know, maybe a little different over the years, but you know, because this is literally 30 years ago. So I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I can say if you look at the background there, that's similar. You got the tree, and there's a fence there that's similar. So for me, it had almost all the elements that, you know, you're trying to find to match something up. And as a matter of fact, it even has the distance. You know, certain times of year, I'm sure that grass is a little bit higher, and that looks like the spot, right?
Yes.
And that's the only place all around that had that lone tree, and I think that is where she was found. Now, maybe you can describe to everyone how she was found.
Okay. That day it was raining. A passerby found her. Her body was laid right next to the road. I don't know exactly in what position. She was face up, and her face supposedly was turned toward where the main gunshot was hid.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know for sure. I mean, I was only 8 years old at the time.
Well, it said it hit her in the head below her left earlobe.
Yes.
So the thing is that just shows you, like, she was sitting in the passenger seat, probably looking forward, and then boom, just was it? Yes. Now was it just it was a gun or like a shotgun?
No, I mean, they said that it was a pistol.
Like a pistol, right? So,
like, one of the newspaper clippings say, I do believe, a .38 caliber, and then one of them said something else. I don't remember. I'm drawing a blank. Like, and I have these newspaper clippings, but there's so many things that are different over the time that the years have gone by. Like, one of the newspaper clippings said that the bullet came out on her right side, and I do believe it was my mom that always told me that they were told it went out the back of her head. So, I mean, it's very confusing to me. I was always told that the way she was facing, you couldn't see the gunshot. But, I mean, it was obvious. Yeah. Whoever laid her right beside the road. Her purse and notebook were with her. I mean, like, laid right beside her.
Yeah, remember there was something, things are coming back to me now. It was something like originally things were placed differently, but they were moved intentionally. You remember that? Something about like the notebook was under her, but then it was moved, or, you know, something like that.
Well, see, I've heard that whenever she was shot, her head fell on her notebook, but then I've also heard that when she was found, her head was placed on her notebook. So I don't know which one is truth, but I've heard both of those things.
Yeah, but she definitely was laid to
noticed.
Yeah, she wanted whoever killed her wanted her to be noticed, but she was also laid in a sort of a respectful, if you can call it that, way, right? Like the person seemed to care about her.
Yes, they didn't just drive by and dump her out. She was placed. She was laid.
Yeah, and then even put in a way where it wasn't like gruesome for whoever came upon the scene.
Right.
Yeah, and that would make sense. Like if you got shot on the left side and it blasted out the right-hand side, then no matter how you tilted her head, it would look bad. So if it went out the back, but how would that have happened unless she turned towards him and then a shot went in below the left earlobe, but then also at an angle backwards? You see?
Right.
And then you could turn the head onto her left side, and then you wouldn't see anything, I guess. Do you know any of these articles that, which one, any of these that might, let's see. Yeah, there's just a lot of I'm just trying to find. I want to see. There was a specific article that had the description of how she was found. 10 miles south of. Okay. So do you remember that specifically? I mean, I want to remember the part about how she was. Like it seemed like they were able to determine that she bled on something first, but then it was moved.
I was always told that it was her notebook.
Yeah, I remember the
That
notebook.
at one point in time, her head was on her notebook.
Okay.
I'm almost positive in one of those clippings it says it too. I don't have my
I should
book right here with
I should have
me.
went back and watched my previous episode because I know I have it in there. Let's see. So what are some of the what's been done over the years that you know of?
I know it was in the paper that they had questioned a couple of people. I do believe it says somewhere in there about the couple actually taking a polygraph test. I'm assuming that, they were suspects. The case has been passed on to the Texas Rangers. I know ever so often they'll have a thing in the paper saying that they're still looking for tips on the case. Are
you still there?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm
I was like, whoa, did I just lose you like in the middle?
No, I'm here. No. I'm trying to do anything I can now just to get attention to it. It's been 30 years now, and I just feel like, honestly, I know for sure right now that there's some things going on. I've found so much information. I'm just hoping somehow it's able to be pieced together.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to sort of generally speak of why we were talking again recently, because that was pretty weird.
It was very weird. I just received messages from someone that's very well respected in our community, confirming some things that I believe to be 100% true, and then pretty much found out that maybe there was lack of evidence because
the rain.
Our sheriff department, it was the rain was against them that day.
Yeah.
There was so much going on.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to read this article out loud here because I think this is one of the ones that had most of the information in it. Okay. So it says Brown County authorities from every area law enforcement group are conducting an investigation into the death of 13-year-old Brownwood Junior High School student whose body was discovered in a bar ditch, whatever that means, 10 miles south of Brownwood on Indian Creek Road about 4:30 p.m. Tuesday. According to Brown County Sheriff Bill Donahue, Amanda Goodman's body had apparently been removed from a vehicle. There is enough physical evidence that we believe the girl was murdered and at some other place other than where it was found, either in the automobile or somewhere else, he said. The sheriff said from early indication it appears she was shot in the head area. However, an autopsy has been ordered by a justice of the peace. Let's see. The 13-year-old was last seen in front of the Hickory Stick. That's exactly what we were just showing. Walking towards Stewart Street a few minutes after she left school at around 3:30 p.m. Officers are currently looking for a red pickup, possibly with a stripe down the side, because that's the vehicle that somebody saw her get into, right?
I'm not really for sure. I was told that people in that area that lived in that area had said they had seen that vehicle out there and had not seen it before, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
But it's weird that so somebody did see her walking in that area, but that's all they can say. They didn't see her, so she could have been picked up quite a bit into the walk, like another quarter mile somewhere. Right? Okay. Right. Officers are currently looking for a red pickup, possibly with a stripe down the side. There is a black toolbox on the vehicle. The pickup, apparently not usually seen in the area, was observed around the time of the murder. The girl was found fully clothed and wearing a long-sleeved blouse and blue denim skirt. She was carrying a blue denim purse and light blue loose-leaf notebook. Tani said the heavy rains which preceded the discovery of the body are hindering lawmen in their search for evidence. Her body was discovered by a passerby. There had been no attempt to conceal it. See, there you go. The passerby who made the grim discovery flagged down another driver who reported the death to authorities while the first individual waited until officers arrived. Amanda's mother, Mrs. George Nejic, said that at one time her daughter mentioned overhearing a conversation. So her daughter mentioned overhearing a conversation about drug dealings, and that she advised Amanda to report it to school authorities, which apparently the child did. We are checking out that possibility, and at this time have no solid evidence that this was a contributing factor. So that's what they were thinking at the time.
Yes.
You all right?
Yes, sorry.
You're supposed to not breathe in liquid. I figured that out just like a year ago. It was weird. Let me try to find... I do have these other older articles here. Or they're later, from 95, 5 years later.
Goodness, I'm joking.
Yeah. I'll wait. Are you okay, though, or...?
I sent them in to get me a drink. You can mute me if you need to for a minute.
Oh, I'll mute you. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I forgot that I had the mute button. All right. I'll go over this This one is 5 years after. So this article was done in '94. Now Blue and Chloe are playing, but Jesus. Investigators in Brown County are turning to the public for help in the unsolved murder of a 13-year-old Brownwood girl. I think Chloe's winning this battle down here. Here, hold on a second. My God, they were just so loud. We're trying to get them into a different room now. Hold on. Okay. Amanda's body was found in a ditch in the south part of town on May 16, 1989. The cause of death was a single gunshot wound to the left side of the head below the earlobe, investigators said. No evidence of rape was found. The last reported sighting of the girl was an hour earlier, investigators said. Investigators are grabbing for straws, hoping that someone will come forward with information about the Brownwood Middle School girl. I think this case has brought more concern and more tears to this community than I can ever recall because it was a sensational type thing. All right, let me check and see if... All right, how you doing now?
I'm good.
Okay, good. All right. I'm just looking for the... where it actually describes more about the scene. And then next thing we know, she was lying in a ditch. I don't see it there. It might be in that. There was a couple stories online about it.
Yes.
You know, and I think you're mentioning, yeah, as a matter of fact, the one I'm opening right now, your name is right here in the second paragraph. It says, so you've been out there trying to do something about it for a long time.
I have.
Was this, May 10th? When did I do the first video on it? Because this article is here's from May 10th, 2018.
Sissy's niece is the one that shared it with me. It was last year, I do believe.
So that was just weird that we had the same timing. Although somebody may have sent me something, and that led to me.
I think she had made a post on the Facebook site, and that's what got it all started. Us getting into contact with you.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, so you got the answer there? Somebody else is there?
Yeah, they said they've sent you stuff too.
Okay. I don't remember exactly how I knew about it. It wasn't a random thing, though. I remember seeing somebody mentioned something about a cold case.
Yes, it was definitely on the Facebook page.
Yeah, so 29 years after her murder at age 13, Amanda Goodman's surviving family members are no longer in Brownwood. Judy Shank isn't related to Goodman family, but she described Amanda, who lived in Brownwood with her mother. So let me see if we can find, if I just type in the word, like, notebook, would that show up in here? Yeah, see, neither the bullet nor the gun were found. How's that possible? Like the bullet, Oh, well, that could be tough.
It went out.
Yeah, right, like if you're driving, right, like...
So it went out the window?
Yeah, like let's say she was in the passenger seat while driving, he goes, boom, and then either had the window rolled down or it blasted through the glass on that window.
Right.
That's interesting. She was shot with a handgun, but said that's not known for certain. The vehicle was someone he knew, trusted.
I think that they believe 100% that she was not killed there at the site from the amount of blood, because it was a head injury, so there's going to be lots of blood. And I think that's why they say that she was not killed there. I feel like whoever picked her up, as soon as she got in, I feel like they shot her, and that was the closest back road, which, no one travels very often, closest to where they were.
So, yeah, well, what's interesting is, like, if she was picked up right here, let's say the car was driving this way and said, hey, I'll turn around or whatever, and then boom, you're just right onto this road, and then bing, you're just out of town,
Yes, very much out of town, even still.
I mean, it's very rural. It's like there's just very sparse housing around. So there's this one article with the mother in it. I wonder. Let me see. Got a ride to school that morning of May 16th. Set out walking for home in the afternoon. Netjek said she required her daughter to be home by 4 p.m. and when Amanda hadn't shown up at 4:15, Netjek was miffed. She went driving, looking for her daughter, thinking she was going to have to ground the teen. I thought she had defied me, and I wasn't going to mind me. It started to rain. Netjek got an uneasy feeling and drove back home after about 30 minutes of searching. They told her a body had been found. They thought it was Amanda, and they asked her to go to the funeral home to identify her. That would have sucked. 10 miles. Let's see if it says it right down here. The victim, a 13-year-old female, was discovered at approximately 4:30 p.m. 10 miles south of Brownwood on Indian Creek Road. The victim was last seen alive while walking home from school May 16th at approximately 3:40. Okay. It is believed the victim accepted a ride or was abducted shortly thereafter and was killed. The Brown County Sheriff's Office encouraged anyone with information not yet provided to law enforcement to come forward. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can't find the. There was definitely an article out there. I wonder if let's check this one last one here. Okay, this is a different one. Oh, is everything okay?
Yes, my husband said he's leaving me here. I'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, man. This is important stuff right here because we're actually getting this information now. But if you have to go, let me know. I don't want you to get in trouble.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thinks she's got. Okay. Grubbs said. So Grubbs was a ranger at the time. This is 20 years after. So this article here must have been 2009. So this is sort of an intermediate article. I think this is the one that may have had more information in it. Grubbs said he thinks she had gotten into a vehicle with someone she knew and trusted. He thinks she was getting out of the vehicle when she was shot. Like turning. I'm not sure why he thinks that, however. I wonder if the gunshot wound actually goes behind the, like the left earlobe and then out the front right side or something. I don't know. I wonder why he thinks that she was getting out of the vehicle. With someone she knew and trusted. He thinks she was getting out of the vehicle when she was shot. The bullet entered near her left earlobe and exited the back of her head. Okay, so what makes him think she was getting out with that information? Because I don't know. Because try to picture that. That would almost be like the person's turning towards the driver, and then a gunshot hits your left, behind your left earlobe, and then goes out the back of your head. I think. Yeah. So that doesn't really make any sense to me. Grubbs said it appeared her killer had laid her body out deliberately, suggesting it was someone who had cared for her. The girl's head turned to the left. Okay, so that's covering up the gunshot one. Her arms were at her sides. This is that article, everybody. Her arms are at her sides, and her purse and school notebook were nearby. Neither the bullet nor gun were found. Grubbs believed she was shot with a handgun, but said that's not known for certain. Goodman, known to friends and family members as Sissy, had turned 13 just 3 days earlier, May 13th, and she lived with her family on South Side Village Apartments. Let's see. He said he has a suspicion as to who murdered the girl, even though that person, a man, passed a polygraph test. I wonder if this is the same person that you're interested in.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I don't have the facts to back up my suspicion, Grubbs said. His suspicion is based on the man's close connection to the victim and his past history. The investigation remains open, Grubbs said, even though there are no new leads. Yeah, I don't see any of the parts about the notebook, though. Because I definitely read that somewhere. I guess it's just one of those things I'll have to go find later. Oh, wait, there it is. No, the school notebook was nearby, but there was a description about that at some point about how it was, yeah, like they thought that she bled. I think it's in one of those articles that you have, one of those newspaper clippings.
Yes.
Like that was bleeding over the notebook. Okay, so this I wonder how we can actually talk about the person. I mean you can just refer to them as what they do, what they did, but maybe not their name, I guess, if you want to.
I feel like the person that did it was the pastor of our church.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. Somebody she knew, somebody that would. Yeah, but what would be the reasoning, you think, for something like that?
Um, I was told that he has been questioned twice before of two young women's murder, and that he had been turned in a different state for sexually abusing these women.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked like to the police there locally, and they can't really confirm it with me or not. He was never charged of it, so I can't find it on his record.
But like, what was interesting is lately, recently, remember the whole Google Earth thing that we were
Yes.
doing? Like,
Yes.
there was this, just to throw it out there, a truck, a specific color, and it was just amazing. Like, you were saying how interested they were. Like, oh my God, they were like, they finally maybe had a piece of information, but it turns out it was like a different model or something.
Right.
But it was actually on
Right.
Google Earth. It was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wish I could have shown you guys
Um,
that. That was weird.
Once I received some messages a couple of months ago, and I found out that the person that even her mom truly believed with all her heart and soul until she went to her grave, she believed that this man did it. I found out that he was still breathing, and I just started so much investigating, and that's how I found that address where I had found that truck. I, I believe that they can find that truck. Believe that it was overlooked. I think that they could not believe that our pastor would do that. So it was kind of overlooked, and I feel that he had time to clean his vehicle
Now, well, tell them
before they.
about the what you heard about when, the blood and things like that. Remember that?
Um,
Like,
that it was supposed.
well, I don't know if you can say that or not, but.
Right, right.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Well, there you go. You guys will just go, oh, wow, we don't get to know.
I know. There's so much that I really do have to try to keep to myself right now.
Yeah. So go ahead. What were you going to be? You were saying something, anyways.
Um, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Sorry for
I
interrupting.
just know that it started something under like a fire within me again, and like I just can't. I don't know. It kills me knowing that this man is still breathing
You're
and
sort of,
has not had,
yeah.
to pay for it.
Well, it's a little bit like Sheila Wysocki. Like, she's a private investigator. She had a friend that was murdered when she was in college, and it always bugged her. And then she became a private investigator and kept bugging and bugging and bugging. And then they all thought it was somebody else, but eventually, because of her getting it, the police more interested in it again, they actually found it was like this, like a serial killer type. I mean, this guy just went into the apartment. And, I mean, what was weird about it is in that case, her friend was actually called her boyfriend and said, "Hey, I just let this guy in to use my phone. He's kind of weird." And then that guy ends up killing her, stabbing her to death and everything. It's crazy. And they never caught him for like 20 years. And then they finally did. Maybe even longer than that. So what you're doing is great. You got to keep bugging people. It sounds like they're still interested in it, for sure, right?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think we have, new, fresh eyes. It's been 30 years. I want to know either way who it is. Our, our family, her family deserves justice. Um, it's been 30 years, but it still just feels like yesterday. It still hurts.
Yeah.
And it's like, you never hear about it. Every May for her birthday, I contact the papers and I try to get it going again. And I keep being told the same thing, that they don't have enough evidence. They don't have enough evidence. But
Well, you can put the
I feel
story
like,
out again. Just tell it again.
yes, yes. And I feel like it's been 30 years. Something that they didn't realize was so important then, I feel like there's ways to prove it now.
Well, I mean, here's what I would try to do if I was them, is I would send the clothing that Amanda was wearing to the FBI and specifically have them check the back side of it. Since it was raining, that side would probably be less likely to have had any sort of DNA washed away, because the killer at that time, they wouldn't been thinking about DNA at all in 1989, and they probably used their bare hands to carry her and put her on the ground. Now, I don't know, touch DNA and it's raining and 30 years ago, I don't know. But man, they're right now they're able to get DNA that's incredible. I don't know how the hell they're doing it, but you know, it seems like they can get a DNA off of an ant that happened to be walking on somebody a month earlier.
I do believe there was a clipping in there somewhere, and I don't remember what year it was, where they had said that they had resent her clothes in. I'm almost positive it's one of those clippings.
Yeah.
My thing is, the person that I believe it in, I've been told was, accused of it just a couple years prior to him coming to Brownwood. And I just, honestly...
Thanks, Barbara.
I wish I could find that vehicle. Yeah. I feel like if they could get that vehicle, or, maybe it's been 30 years, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe it is no way to find it. But I feel like
to interrupt.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Love the freaks and the freak leader.
Hey, thanks, Barbara. Appreciate it. Let's see. Well, gosh, I'm not really... It's just, it's so frustrating. I mean, I wonder if it's because it's a small town that they're not really putting any much... I don't know if they're not putting effort into it. It just feels like they should be able to find out who this is. And you're saying the vehicle is... They should be focusing on that, but... And the vehicle that... the person... here's what they could do, too. They could go find the vehicle that the person of interest had during that time, and then see what they can do with that, right?
Right. I feel like times are so much advanced now that luminol spray that I see on all these movie shows, I feel like that if they got that and were able to spray that,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. The thing is, how about this? Here's the thing. Nobody can clean up a gunshot wound in a car well, okay? They might try, and they do all this kind of stuff. But there's so many little grooves and little tiny little nicks. And if you get shot in a vehicle, blood spatters, it and it would go all over the place and get into little crevices. And somebody would think, oh, I got it all clean. They're wiping around. But it's still there. Okay, so right. Yes, if they could somehow find that vehicle, they might be able to find something.
Right. And I feel like that they did look at that vehicle. I have been told that they did look at that vehicle for sure, but it was like days and days after. And I don't know. I believe that there would be something still there too, no matter what. Brown County has stood by for 30 years that there just wasn't enough evidence in the case. I've had people that work at the sheriff department that I've talked to tell me I'm right, that they believe 100% what I believe is the truth. They just don't.
And who and everything, reason, right? The who, even the who and everything, right?
They believe even the same exact person I do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of them do, but people that I have talked to up there. They just have, for 30 years stood with that they don't have enough evidence.
And that person's getting pretty old now.
86.
Yeah. So at the time then, he was 56. That's pretty old. But he was, it's 56 is actually old to still be a predator. It is, I know they still are, but a predator in terms of like the sexual nature, it's usually a little bit younger, but I guess they still are.
One thing I absolutely remember hearing at that church that we were told as kids, until you turn 13, 13, like you automatically went to heaven. Their beliefs were always that after that you had to accept Christ. I mean, pretty much that's when you started turning into an adult, you know? I don't even remember where I was going with that.
Let's see.
I don't even know.
Well, kind of.
Like,
it was making some sense. You were just talking about. Well, tell us about the church and what, like, kind of what was going on in the religious aspect of it, I guess.
Okay. In '85, my mom had always been Church of Christ. We always went to Church of Christ. It's a very calm church. When my mom met Barbara kept asking my mom, "Oh, come to church with me, come to church with me." And my mom knew that she was some kind of Pentecostal religion because of the way they dressed. They had to wear very long skirts, very long sleeve shirts. The women, most of the shirts were, button up shirts, very, dress shirts. And so my mom really didn't know what to think. And I remember the first time we went in there, it was way different than our Church of Christ church. I'm not saying anything wrong with it because I like a more upbeat church now that I'm grown. But it was just, they were very strict. They had, the kids played the band in the church. They did most of the music.
Like the Partridge Family.
Yes.
I'm just kidding, but they weren't probably.
It was like a very small church, but everyone was definitely like family.
Yeah.
And all the investigating I've done, I can't find I can find where he came to Brownwood in 1985.
So just right before that too. And then when did he leave the area? Quickly?
The church? Yes.
So he moved there in 85 and then he left like 86 late? Like he's out of there?
She died in 89. She was murdered in 89.
Oh, 89. That's what I meant.
By 90, he was definitely gone.
Wow, so he was just not there very long, and then she died in 89. I don't know why my brain dyslexically switched the 9 into a 6 for some reason. But all right, wow. So he leaves right away, and then he moves about as far away as possible, right?
Pretty much from what I've been able to find on searching records of his address and stuff, he moved right back to the same town he had ran from in 1985.
Yeah, but now he lives kind of almost about as far away as you can get.
Oh, yes,
in
definitely.
the United States.
Right.
And we see that a lot in some of these cold cases where when they end up arresting the person, it's like geographically the absolute furthest spot. It's almost like they looked at a map and then went, okay, and then drew a string around in a circle and then went, okay, there it is. That's the farthest. And then they moved there.
He moved. I've been told that he moved there because he's very, very sick. He's 86 years old. And I've been told that he moved in with his daughter so that she can take care of him.
That's what
I'm
say.
definitely running out of time.
Yeah, well, no, the thing is you can always, it actually might speed things up, to be honest. If something happened. Because then they wouldn't be as nervous to sort of look at it. Maybe right now they don't have enough evidence, but I don't know. They're solving tons of cases every single day that the person who did the killing, well, I wouldn't say every day, but I would say recently there's been 5 or 6 cold cases that were solved and the killer died 10 years ago. And they'll, using the genealogy, they say, oh yeah, the killer turns out he died in prison in 2011. But yeah, he's definitely the guy. And that's pretty amazing. So there's always, you can still get the conviction, or at least find out who the killer was after the fact, like even after he
Right.
dies. Somebody said maybe a deathbed confession.
I've prayed for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff that you couldn't say though was pretty interesting.
Right.
Darn it. So what else you got? Any questions in there? How about you guys? Do you have any questions? You can type them in. Oh, I could hear myself.
No.
Must be somebody using another device in the background. Not too much of a delay though. I'm pleased to hear.
No, it's really not, but it does have a little bit.
Yeah. So just for any people that might be showing up late, I'll just recap this right here. Amanda Goodman on, I think it was, let's see, when was that? June 16th, May 16th? Yeah, May 16th, 1989.
May 16th.
May 16th, right, that's what I was saying.
Yes.
Yeah, May 16th, 1989. She left school right here, and as you can see right here, she was walking like this, cut across this little gravel area here, because that's just what anybody would do. You'd look like a robot weirdo if you actually went like this and then turned left, right? I mean, everybody walks the shortest route, so you go that direction, and then that was around 3:40. Somebody saw her right in this area, which makes sense, right? That's, you get out of school, talk to somebody. 3:35, you start walking. 3:40, you're seen here. And then sometime after that, anywhere along this route here, somebody picked her up, somebody that she knew, and then apparently just shot her in the head. And it could have even been that person just started driving and she couldn't get out of the car and then started heading this way really fast and then shot her somewhere out here. And that's why it's even harder to find the bullet, because this is just total rural area here and you'd never find it. It'd be interesting if everybody in the town would just get metal detectors. Like if you had 300 people with metal detectors and they all walked 10 miles, but man, you'd have to, it's just, I don't know, because a bullet can travel hundreds and hundreds of yards even after it leaves the vehicle. Like it hit her in the head. Although, hitting her in the head, the bullet might not travel that much further after that. But anyways, so it would have been like 3:40 or so, and then the person drove her all the way down here, and her body was placed on the side of the road right here on her back, and her arms were positioned at her side. Her head was turned to hide the wound, and whoever put her there definitely wanted her to be found. She wasn't hidden whatsoever. It's interesting at that time of day, because she was found only an hour after, like around 4:40, I would imagine, right?
Right. And her mom stated in the paper that at 4:15 she drove from the apartment to Southside Village, and she was definitely gone by then. She was not anywhere on that route going back to the school in between 4:15 and 4:30. She was definitely already picked up.
Yeah, okay, so what you're saying right here is on this route right here, the mother said between 4 and 4:15, she wasn't anywhere around in here, so she was already gone.
Right.
And she lived right here in this apartment complex.
Yes.
I think even in I think that building there, or in this, series of buildings right there. And that's where she was headed. It was just a little over a mile walk. Never made it there, and then her body was just found, placed on the side of the road. Originally, I thought it sounded more like what a serial killer would do, but it makes more sense in this situation that it was just somebody that knew her, cared about her, but at the same time didn't want to get exposed. Like he probably liked her, but the thing is, had Amanda ever reported anything about being
No,
nothing?
not that I've ever been told of.
I wonder if it could have been something when the attempt was after he picked her up. And then Amanda goes, no, I'm not. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm telling my mom. I'm telling my mom. And then he goes, oh, screw it. And then he killed her, but he still...
I feel like that he had tried to come on to her before that, and it ate him up. And I feel like that he knew he had just been accused of that, supposedly, in somewhere else, and he couldn't have that come up again. So I feel like he had to shut her up.
And she'd never mentioned anything to anybody yet.
No.
Huh. I wonder what that is. Maybe just embarrassment, like...
all of his victims have been over 13, from what I've been told, but he's just never been found guilty of them.
Yeah, what was the thing you were saying about 13?
Well, she had just turned 13 3 days prior to that.
Right, but you
and
were
that's
saying...
when you, like, turn to a woman and a man in that church.
I see, yeah.
That's what makes me think that. She never said anything. I mean, we were together every day. She never let on that anything like that was going on whatsoever. But this person always took her on vacations with them. Any mission trips they went on, she went with them.
Oh, really?
Her parents were extremely poor. They had 2 kids and then had another son. The pastor kept asking Barbara, her mom, if she needed to go stay with them.
Well, wow, it sounds like you have a whole bunch of more information. Come on, what else you got? I guess it's stuff you have to just kind of remember. You know, like I do the same thing when I'm covering cases. I remember, oh, yeah, you remember other things. So that's actually sounds pretty important. Like she was going on these trips with them, and the parents would let her go probably because they weren't, probably just made it easier for a little bit. And then were they long trips or?
As far never out of the country. I mean, I was only 8 when this happened, but me and her brother have talked, and he remembers, if I remember right, her going to Missouri with them on one of the mission trips they had went on. They actually brought 2 children back with them, and we just barely remembered that a couple of nights ago when we were talking. They were Asian children. They lived with them. Like, we don't know their names or anything to even have them questioned if anything ever happened to them, because they actually lived with them.
That would be interesting. Well, what do you think? So you don't think? See, what if he like somebody just mentioned grooming? You know, a lot of these predators, they'll groom somebody to, you start buying them little items. You take them to lunch and dinner. You do little stupid little things to make them trust you.
Right.
So what if he'd been doing that, but that day it didn't work. Like he thought, okay, I got all my grooming in. She really trusts me. I'll try to work one of my little lines in. So he picks her up, and then he tries something, and then she's just totally not going to have it. And then he knew at that moment that she was going to tell somebody. Prior to that, because if he'd been doing all this kind of sick grooming stuff and attempted things, I feel like she probably, would have told her mom maybe. In one of those prior to that. I don't know her well enough to make that, claim, but I'm saying on this particular day, he might have, just like you said, he's been doing the grooming, and now she's just turned 13, and in his mind, it's okay. So then when he picks her up, he plans it all out, picks her up, knows who she's going to get off school, knows what her route is, picks her up, and then he makes an attempt, and she just says, what are you doing? What are you doing? And now he knows that she's going to go home and say something, and he's screwed. So then he just shoots her in the head and then puts her body, but he cared about her, like in that weird way, like
whoever did that definitely had some kind of connection with her.
Yeah.
To leave her laying so close to the road to be found.
Yeah. So nobody saw her get into the vehicle Right.
No.
So no, nobody saw her get in the vehicle. And that, you know, it's weird if you look at the map. I think if I remember it right. You know, there's that little area right here with wooded area. Almost like she turned, and right here, hey, you need a ride, and now you're right in the middle of the woods. Just this little patch right there. You see that?
Yes, and that's actually a creek bed.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's just see what that would look like. I mean, look at what a great spot that is. Hey, do you need a ride? And who's seeing you at this point? Nobody.
The church is so close that the pastor knows everything that's, you know, is going on in your home. So he would know that it's raining. He would know she was supposed to walk home.
Mm-hmm.
He would know exactly which way she was going.
Yep, just down here like this. And what are there? Is a church around here somewhere?
It is on Austin Avenue.
Yeah, so she would just walk like this. And I bet things haven't changed much in this town, right? I mean, it's not like it's it doesn't seem like it's
not around this area. This area is all pretty much the same.
Yeah, so this is the way she would have walked, like this.
Yes.
And this is actually June 2019, believe it or not, this street view here. So you guys just had the little car driving around recently. Yeah. So, I mean, that little bridge area seems like the best spot. I mean, some of these other spots like this are okay, too. But there's still people that could just be easily walking around there. That bridge area, there isn't going to be anybody. At all.
And that is a daycare. It has gotten much bigger, but was still there at the time.
Yeah, so right here you turn, and then I don't think it's much further up
It's
here.
just right up the road, yes.
Another little creek here. That's probably the same one. Yeah, and then she probably would cut across right there and then get into the apartments, right?
And see, yes, that apartment, farthest on the left,
That one?
at the very bottom, that was her apartment. That was like her bedroom window.
Oh, right there, huh?
Yes.
Oh, so it was this one here, not this one. It's this one, not
No,
this.
the other one, but this back, go down.
Okay, so it's this one up here then, right? This one?
No.
Okay,
back
it's
one.
this one. Okay, yeah, because I've always had it listed as that one. So let me fix that. So it's right there. Oh, want me to mute you for a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, right there. That's weird knowing that. So just right there. So she would have just cut right across the grass and went in there. It's not like, again, we're not robots. You don't just follow the street when you're a kid and you have like a shortcut you can take. Are you there? Are you okay now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I don't know how to check, other than just waiting a certain amount of time. Yeah, I don't know how to turn off this stuff on here, the music, but oh well. Wow. So what else? What else? It sounds like you have other information that maybe you might remember. Let's see what kind of questions people have. Well, it was only a 1.3 mile walk, but she never made it there. Lori. She was just picked up sometime pretty quickly after leaving the school. She didn't walk far at all. The farthest she would have walked was 1.25, 1.2 something mile. Well, let me get the actual measurement now since it's a little different. 1.21 miles. So that's what she would have walked right there. And this is the north-south orientation. Are they whining? Hey, hold on one second. I mean, Blue and they're just whining and whining in the other room. It's amazing. Well, no, it's 1.21 is what I said. Okay, well, let's see. I think what we should do is, try to look into it even more. Maybe, is there anybody else that would come on that you think would have information to share? It sounds like it's kind of a struggle.
I've tried. Right. I have such a bad struggle. No one wants to talk about it. Everyone keeps it quiet. It's been like that. After 30 years, one of the children from the church, I do believe, may have something to say. I'm waiting to find out about that. It's just so crazy how everyone's kept so quiet.
Yeah, it's like some people just say, let's just move on, But, I mean, people shouldn't do that, though. Yeah.
Not only that, but there's been so many rumors over the last 30 years that it seems like it's just taking it, like, the wrong direction. And, I mean, even from her, supposedly reporting it to her mom that she knew about some drugs going on at school. I did not ever hear that. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I was a little kid though, so I don't remember that. There's a lot of stuff that I don't remember that I found out later just by digging.
And is the mother still alive? She isn't, right?
No, she's not.
So, but did she report that did happen about the drugs?
The paper says that. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. She's not here now for me to question her, and so I don't know. Just like I was told by someone else that one of the brothers at our church had found out. I guess I'm not even 100% sure how he found out. I don't know if he was there. 100%. Barbara would have called the pastor of our church immediately, probably even when she hadn't came home from school. I've been told by someone else that it was reported to the cops, and I don't know if it was or not, but I was told that when Barbara had called one of the members of the church and had told them what happened, and they had called to talk to the pastor of the church, and the wife had said that he wasn't there, but during the phone call, she said, I can hear him pulling in the driveway now to hold on. And then she came back to the phone frantically crying and said that there was mud all over him. She had to end the phone call. And I mean, I've been told that was reported to the police, but I don't know 100% if it was.
What did you say? What was on him?
It was reported to that there was mud all over him.
Okay, mud, yeah, kind of.
Blood all over him. But supposedly, whenever they went to be questioned, the wife said that she did not say that. She said mud. But the original caller supposedly told the police that there's no way she would be as frantic as what she was when she said she had to end the call.
Right.
If it was just mud.
Right. You wouldn't go, oh my God, I gotta go. He's got mud on him.
Right. And see, that's another thing that leads me back to new knowledge of just different things that they can find. If that's true and he pulled up and we have a head injury, there's going to be a lot of blood. So is it possible that he dripped blood leaving out of the truck on the rocks it's a gravel, like narrow driveway pulling straight up underneath the apartment that they live in,
Mm-hmm.
like right next to it. So I'm just wondering if they were to spray that luminol, would there show traces of blood? If there's a way that they could prove it was her blood, why would there be that much blood there? Like they
Yeah.
didn't have those things then.
But I mean, was she claiming? I actually think the blood that's on him might be her blood. I mean, when you shoot somebody in the head, that close
Exactly.
range, it's just gonna.
Plus, he
Yeah.
picked her body up and moved her.
Right. So blood's
So
gonna be
he picks her
gushing
up from
out.
behind.
Yeah.
The autopsy said that she was 5'4", 140 pounds. So that's dead weight. He has to pick her up. So when he scoops her up behind her arms, I'm thinking her chest is going to be out. Her back would be on his chest, which, I mean, I'm thinking blood would get all over him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Just getting her out of the car alone, would there be just blood all over the car? First of all, inside, and then her blood would be all over him. But one of the issue though is there's no blood of him anywhere. You see?
Right.
But
Right.
so the key, like you're saying, probably is finding that vehicle and just finding there is going to be blood in that vehicle. Well,
Somewhere,
let's
for
just put it
sure.
this way. Whatever vehicle it was that was used and then she was killed in is going to have blood still in it today. I don't
Yes.
care if you took it
Yes.
to a
Yes.
detail car shop. I don't care. It's going to get in the little seams and drip in there. Like imagine taking, I don't know if syrup's a good
And
idea.
see,
But, if it's just
I've
dumping it around,
talked-
you're not going to get it all.
I've even talked to the woman that owns the property now, and she's more than willing to let them go through there and do anything they need to do.
The property where he lived at the time?
Yes, at the time, yes.
Well, do you know what that address is? Maybe I can just put that in there.
I'm trying not to lose you as I...
Okay. Now, well, the truck would definitely be old by now, for sure.
Correct. Because it was an early 80s model
Yeah.
Chevy truck then that he owned.
So, not too old at the time, but now it would be.
Okay, and the address is 2719 Austin Avenue.
God, that's interesting. I mean, he lives right next to the same road almost like as the apartment. Is this a house or what is this? It's big.
There's a house added onto this right side right here.
Mm-hmm.
The very bottom square you see is where the carport is, where you would pull up. And the part to the right is a big, huge kitchen that the church would use.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, yes. Okay. That part is right there is the kitchen. See the carport right there is right where it's a 2-story in the back part right here, and there's an apartment back there that they lived in. And then the whole other side of the church was the
So that's a church, but
yes.
wow, that's okay. So this is probably the church, and that was just kind of
Yes.
on the same property, a little place to live.
Yes.
Okay.
It's all connected. It's like a big U
So
or a
is
horseshoe.
this not used anymore? Because it looks like they haven't done anything.
No, but people still live back there in the house part. I'm not for sure what they actually use this part for anymore.
Well, that's interesting. Just the where he lives part of it. I mean, look, he'd have to almost go the same exact route. Like if he was at the high school, and he was going to drive home, he'd go the same way.
Yes.
Look at that. And then he would just go on Willis, and then still Willis, because Willis just kind of curves, and then wow. I mean, just right after you get to the apartment, you would turn right on Willis and be home.
Yes.
Wow. So what do you guys think of this? Everybody? And then what were you saying about the house, though? What were you going to be...
I've talked to the woman that owns it now.
Okay,
and
yeah.
she said she was more than willing to have anyone come in and do anything that they needed to. Like, she's told me that there's a really weird room that was attached, the way I understand it, it's to the master bedroom, that like looked like a bigger than a closet, but there's like no windows or anything like that. It was like just one door in. I mean, that could have been used for office. I don't know exactly what it was, but she said that that was just definitely weird how it was built on.
That is weird.
And see, it wasn't very much before this that they moved to this church, or I do believe he had it built, but I could be wrong about that. I mean, they moved over there. I want to say it was in '88, because they were they were at another church on north side of town, and somehow they obtained this property here.
It just seems so. Look how big the town is. I mean, it's not huge, but the fact that he lives literally so close to the, I mean, like, I would say, just eyeballing it, 3/10 of a mile. No, actually, we can just measure it from her apartment. Oh, we'll just go right at that street corner there. 0.4, so 4/10 of a mile. Not even a half mile, just boom, and right down the same road. You sort of think maybe, I don't know, but he knew her already, so very interesting. It seems like we should be able to get more information, and
I'm hoping I can. I'm definitely going to stay in contact with you.
Why don't you get a hold of have you ever tried getting a hold of the FBI? Just saying, hey, there's this case, it's...
Here recently, I have spoken with an FBI agent. I've spoken with 3 different states. 1, 2, 3, 4 different counties. And they all seem like they're so interested, but they can't talk to me because, I'm just a normal civilian.
But it was interesting how interested they got when you thought you found the truck.
Yes, and not only that, but whenever I called the place that I found that he lived before he lived here, of course, it's been 35 years, so there was a new officer. I told him who I was, got to tell him why I was calling and stuff, and like, he would not let me hang up the phone before I verified that I had received his email address. And he wanted me to take it to a law enforcement here at Brown County. And he just kept telling me he couldn't discuss anything with me, but that he was more than willing to open up any cases that he could find in connection, with his name or anything. And that he didn't mind if he could find any of that, he didn't mind, reworking any cases up there.
Why do you think he was so interested like that?
I feel like during the 30 minutes that I was talking to him, he 100% found something that I was saying to be true. I feel like he found something on his computer as we were talking. I don't see why he would say for me to check the email to make sure that I got that, to go take it to, my county here.
Well, what did he send you? Just, did he send you an email?
Yes, it was just a regular email. It just had his name on it, his contact information, the address to the jail, stuff like that. And he told me to just give it to our local officers here.
But what for? I did that. Why did he want you to give his email to them?
He just told me he couldn't discuss anything about the case with me, but that he could definitely help them in any way he could. I took it that some part of my story, literally, he found some kind of truth in it. I feel like he would have blown me off. Okay, have a good time. Make sure they call me or something. But he made me make sure that the email had went through and, told me to do that. So I'm hoping that maybe I got something even started there. And maybe even if he messed up there, I honestly feel like that even if we could never prove that he did that, if I could get him on one, I feel like I would get some type of justice. I feel like she would get some type of justice, her family.
Have you ever tried just calling him?
I haven't, but I wanted to send him a Christmas card so bad.
Why don't you just, one of these days, you just call him and say, hey, listen, I have good information that you did this. Is there anything you'd like to say before, and then just see how he responds. Like, record it. You know?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a little bit crazy to try, but I'm just saying. I mean, if you feel like that really is the person, and a lot of law enforcement does too. Has anybody actually literally said anything like that? Like, hey, we've got good information that points to you as being the main suspect in the 1989 death of Amanda Goodman.
I don't think anyone's talked to him since 1989.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see how he responds to it.
Very much.
Like if he said, never heard of it, you know.
Right, or if his story changed any over the 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah, they questioned him, right, at the time?
Yes, the paper says he took a polygraph test.
And he passed it.
Yes.
Which means absolutely nothing.
Right. Just like even if he failed it. I mean, even if he failed the test, it means absolutely nothing still. In Texas, the lie detector tests are not admissible in court at all.
They really just use them to kind of make, like, they'll even tell you you didn't pass to make you nervous, and then you'll say, okay, I did it, okay, you know.
Right.
Right. It's just, that's more of a psychological deal.
Right.
So, anyways, I think that's about all we have, but what we could do another show another time. Let's just try to get more, other information. Of course, we'll recap everything and then lead into the new information, because there's always new people watching that have no idea. So.
That's right. And I'll definitely keep in contact with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're going to find out something. I can't give up. That's one thing I can't do. I questioned God my whole life and asked him why I had to go through something so traumatic. And finally, I truthfully believe it saved us from the person that I believed did it. My mom left that church immediately, I feel like she saved me and my family and my sister, and I can't shut up.
Yeah, well, I think Amanda's lucky to have, a friend like you that continued to look into it over the years. You probably have family members like, why is she doing this? She keeps stirring it up. But
I do.
But those people aren't being good family members. Okay, the thing. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. See, what you're doing is what people should do. There's no reason in hell people should forget about and just sort of, let's just move on from the death of a 13-year-old girl who did absolutely nothing wrong. Okay? Everybody should be outraged and fighting their whole lives to get the answer for that. And I'm glad that you are. I'm glad that you are that person. Amazingly, you're not even an actual blood relative. All of them seem to have sort of, dropped the ball or just don't really want to get involved in it. So they should be appreciative of you that at least you're still out there, still talking about it. I don't mean to be overly harsh, but that's something that's kind of bothered me a little bit.
There are a lot of people that do contact me still today and tell me how they appreciate what I keep doing, and there's just some of her family members that are not, they just can't handle it, they can't do it, and so I do it for them too.
Yeah, well, I think you guys all need to get together and work together. And the thing is family members, literal brothers and sisters, those types of people can open up doors that you aren't going to be able to. They can request different items and so forth. But anyways, I hope
the new stuff that I found has sparked them, and I hope something will be done.
Yeah, so I really think it's amazing, and I'm appreciative that you're talking to me about it, and you know, we're getting it. It's all mapped out. I have this saved forever here, so it'll just keep getting bigger. You know, hopefully we'll have more pins to put on it at some point.
We appreciate you very much too.
Oh, thank you.
Just helps us get it out there so people do know and that people don't forget her.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm gonna. I don't know if I'll probably still be on the show talking about something else, or maybe have people call in, but I'll let you go and
Okay.
and enjoy the rest of whatever left of your Saturday night. I think you got 20, 30 minutes left or
I do.
something.
Okay. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Bye. Okay, that was Judy Shank, and a lifelong friend of the family, and has been working to get the case solved for a while. So I think that's great, and Amanda's very lucky to have a friend like that. I wish the family members though would all combine together as one big unit and really get out there and put pressure on it. I mean, think about it from law enforcement's perspective. Let's say they're not really doing anything and they're just kind of, yeah, you know, every once in a while they're interested in something. And the only pressure they're getting is, you know, one person, you know, Judy. And she's not even a family member. They're probably like, you know. I mean, we want to solve it, but I don't know. I don't really know what goes in their minds, but it seems like if you have a family front and they're just being bombarded with, hey, what are you guys doing about this? It's been way too long, 30 years. Then they start getting pressure. And then things start moving. And that's just the way it is, sadly. I don't know. Are you still out there, Judy? If you can put the link into that Facebook page. Yeah, I don't really want to call the. I mean, I guess I could try doing that. I think it'd be better if it was somebody. I don't know. Not me. In this case. Just doesn't feel right. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Well, I just want to see how he responds. That would be the reason to confront him, would be to see how he responds. But you know, that case when we were discussing it originally, it's just crazy. You know, 340 seen there, somewhere around this route. I'm thinking it was just right after that in these trees here, picked up. And then just 1 hour later, after she was last seen, and what's crazy, this drive here would take 12 minutes. And then 12 minutes back. So that's 24 minutes is already eaten up just with the drive here. So there was only 30 minutes of something else happening. And so maybe that 30 minutes is where maybe an attempt was made. But it was somebody she knew, so that person felt, okay, I gotta kill her. Then he killed her, drives her down here, and then, you know, probably 2 or 3 minutes here at least. Drives her down here, puts her on the side of the road, hands at her side, face on its left side, gunshot wound below the left lobe through the back of the head, and, you know, placed. I mean, it sounds crazy, but like gently, you know, made it. It was like trying to be presented in a way that was. That's a little over 10 miles. And it seemed like the person cared about her. If you can actually say that after shooting somebody in the head. But somebody that, you know, psychos like that, it's just bizarre is what it is, to be honest with you. That's 11.6 miles to that spot from, and that's just from right there. I mean, you could actually add distance to it because that's not where, that's just where I decided to start from there. So I guess that's the Facebook group right there. Well, do any of you guys want to call in or anything? If not, I'm just gonna do a shorter show. I did one earlier today too. But don't forget when you guys contribute to the channel using super chats or any other method, that's how we do the monthly donations at the end of the month and help support the channel. What do you mean you have something interesting to share? Just type it in. What is it? Nothing. I can't stand when people type in a sentence prior, like, "Wow, I saw something really interesting," and then they just wait for somebody to say, "Wow, what was it?" Okay, just say what you saw that was interesting. Nobody likes to play the game where you have to keep doing the follow-up, you know, leading up to it. Just say what it is. Like, don't do the lead-in stuff, okay? No, I didn't see an article on the bobcats eating a person. No, I didn't see that one. Yeah. Yeah, but you do that too sometimes when we're chatting, Cairo. Come on. Oh, wow. Man, this was great. And then I'm like, yeah, just tell me what it was. So I can just read it and then I'll get back to you later. I know. I was sort of hoping you would just hear what I said. That's some funny shit right there. Well, that number on the screen doesn't work. Let me see. I'm gonna have to let me try to get another number here. Hold on. Nope, not that one. Shoot. Yeah. Okay. So the number on the screen now works if anybody wants to call in. Oh, there was another interesting, hold on. I will say something about the case of Rexburg case with the 2 missing kids. Yeah, so remember Dee Rogers that was in here? She had a pretty interesting theory. I'm not sure she said, but what she said made me think of what I said. I think she might be saying the same thing, but it was hard to tell. But you remember how they were using the metal detectors outside of Tammy's house when they went to Rexburg and had the search warrant for Tammy's house? And we were like, well, why would they be using metal detectors? Right. Well, so what she wrote here was that she said, who would think someone is using a real gun? Well, I mean, some of the... I'll just paraphrase what I got from it, but I don't know if she's saying exactly what I'm saying. Now, she said, in her statement that she made, she says, a guy wearing a ski mask was suddenly standing by the back of my car with a paintball gun. He shot at me several times, although I don't think it was loaded. He ran off around the back of my house. Well, hey, thank you, Holly Evans. Must be midnight where you're at. Just kidding. The okay, but think about what they're saying right now. Is he shot me several times, shot at me several times, although I don't think it was loaded. Well, how would you know it wasn't loaded? Well, that there was no paint on you. Well, then what made you think it was a paintball gun at that time then? Right?
Then what made you think it was...
Okay, hold on. Who's on the line there? Turn down your audio, okay? Jesus. Yeah, you gotta turn down your phone, but hold on a second. So what if the actual shooter was an actual person with a real gun who missed? You see? What if they missed? Because if you had a paint gun, why would you have... it wasn't loaded. And then how would you even know a shot was taken? Okay? It just doesn't make any sense. So it almost seems like she heard banging sound, but the person missed. Like she heard gunshot sound. And the person missed. And then the husband jumps in knowing that happened because he was part of it. He made up the story. Oh, it was probably just a paint gun, you know? Yeah, just kind of selling it to her, and she kind of just believed it. You know, doing the whole mansplaining bullshit. And she probably believed it, and then that's just sort of her story. How do you not know it was a paint gun? Right? Somebody shows up with a paint gun, and it just sort of, they pulling the trigger and no paint's coming out? Come on. Right? So I actually think that was a pretty good theory. I think she's saying that. It's hard to really... she thought it was not loaded. Why? Was there any paint splashes? Yeah, that sounds like about right. Did Chad tell her that? Yeah, that's what... I actually hadn't read that second part there, but most likely this is how he explained the lack of paint splashes. Hey, there you go. Yeah, that's exactly right. I was just reading the first part up there. Did Chad give chase? Probably, as it would be odd to Tammy. Yeah, I mean, she makes a good point here. Yeah, I'll just go over the damn thing. Let's see. It says, well, hold on, let me get this call. Oh, I was just about ready to go to get that phone call there. Whoever that was, call back in. I was just about to go to the call. She thought it was a paintball gun. Why? Who would think someone is using a real gun? Not a rational person. Did she hear a real gun sound? Probably not. Real gun is unmistakable. See, I think she did hear a real gun sound, but she believed the explanation that was given to her. Oh, it was a paintball gun, but it wasn't loaded. Well, then how did you even know he shot at you? This person. Yeah, who was the 325 area code? Is that Sassmere? Yeah, now the lines are open. I just want to get through that. But anyways. I think that's a pretty good theory, don't you think? And then they were actually checking for for the shells in the yard. Hey, thanks, Nona. Yeah. Well, it seems like I'm pretty busy. That's for dang sure, Nona. Oh, 325 is Brownwood? Are you sure? Come on. Oh, did she call back in again? I didn't see that number. Hold on. I did say your name, but I wasn't sure if that was you who called in or not. Hold on, let me check something. Oh wait, there it is. Okay.
Thanks for all you do, Freaks, Mods, and Grey.
All right, 325. You're on there?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, yes. I just had a question. I'm real curious about the other two young girls that were murdered.
Oh, from yesterday? Were you the one that called a few minutes ago, too?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. You mean from last night's show?
From, for the sissy, the Amanda Goodwin.
Oh yeah. Apparently they were in some other state, and apparently the same pastor was looked into for those, because he was there at the same time.
So are they still, is it still unsolved? Murder?
I think so, and I think we were trying to find those cases, and that's something I think that would be really interesting if everybody. Let me see if I can go get more information later, and then we can actually try to find it, like what state it was in, what year, and then we can see if we can find those incidents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like I had read somewhere that it was in maybe Illinois, but
Where are you located?
I'm in Brownwood.
Oh, so you actually are there. I mean, you're...
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember this case.
Yeah. What do you remember about it yourself?
Basically, just everything that's been mentioned here. Of course, there's always town talk. You hear, oh, they think this one did it, and they think this one did it, but I had never heard about the pastor until I actually just here about a week ago. I was looking through Facebook and saw some conversation on it, and that was the first time I'd ever heard that.
Oh, so you're in that Facebook group?
Not in the group. I had read an article about her and come across some conversation on Facebook about it, and that was the first time I'd heard about the pastor.
Wow, hold on a second. Hey, thanks, Linda Howe. I don't know if you're going to get the crazy cat eye. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can turn that on before it... There it is. Oh, God, it looked like it just started to... Oh, there it is. Hold on. Hey, Linda Howe, as in Linda Molden Howe of the cattle mutilation.
But anyway, that's all I was just
Thanks,
really
Gray,
curious
for helping
about that.
Judy get the
Just a
word
second,
out
second.
on Amanda Hart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing that... How did you even know that the show was on?
Actually, I saw where my niece had posted it on Facebook, and it opened up in YouTube. And so I was like, goodness, I'd like to see more of these about the case.
Yeah, I would too. How many... I mean, are there a lot of people that have lived there for a long time? I mean, it almost seems like if we could somehow get almost a town hall of old people that have been there, and then have like a panel where they call in and we're all talking about it, maybe we can get some more information figured out.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Probably, gosh, I don't know, 20,000.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people live there their whole lives, kind of, right? Like it's a.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that'd be pretty interesting if we could get some of the old timers that have been around. It doesn't even have to be that old. You could be like probably 40, right around 40, and you'd remember something like 10 years old, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And maybe maybe an advertisement, you know, that there's going to be an online live feed or whatever prior to.
Yeah, I did put it out 4 hours prior, but that's not enough. Yeah.
Well, and I just happened to stumble on it, so.
No, it's a miracle. You just happen to be one of the 20,000 people living in that town and watching it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
But I hope they get some answers. 30 years is a long time. But
yeah, it's ridiculous, really. It seems like right now with the technology that they have, they should take all of her clothing. If they don't have her clothing in evidence, then they're idiots. Okay. But if they have their clothing in evidence, they need to send it to the FBI and see what they can extract from it. And that's just it, right there. If they don't have the
'cause
clothing,
she was sitting, you know, she was sitting in the seat. So, you know, there could be a dog hair or a cat hair.
yeah, all kinds of stuff.
you
His
know,
hair could have fallen
fiber.
on her. Yeah, and her hair could have fallen on it his hair, when he was carrying her outside.
Exactly.
Something. There's some. I guarantee it. On her clothing somewhere is something. It just all that moving around, and especially with blood, right? Because when you have blood, it's kind of tacky a little bit. I mean, I know it sucks to hear that, but if you get a hair on there or something, it's going to stick there, and within that hour, it hopefully it maintains something. But the problem is it rained. So I'm keep thinking that on the bottom side of her that was protected from the rain for the most part. I mean, she wasn't in the rain that long. And if they'd just taken care of her correctly, well, there wouldn't be anything on her fingernail scrapings because she was just shot in the head, probably not even knowing she's about to get shot. Right?
True.
So somebody said fingernail scrapings. I'm sure they checked that, but I don't think that the way she was killed, there was any sort of, now if he did try to make a move on her prior to that, and then it is possible that she scraped him in that attempt, and then he went and killed her.
Yeah, and if they know about what type of gun that was used, I mean, was there any investigation to see if he had a gun registered to him? You know, that same particular type gun, or
Yeah.
We don't know what they know.
Yeah, exactly. I always wish. Here's the thing: I always wish I knew what they knew, but I never think I have the right to know what they know. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because you don't want to, mess up the case either. But,
yeah. Well, the only thing that messes up the case by the public knowing something is that they try to save things that only the killer knows, and they don't want to tell people that. But other than that, just telling the public all the details most of the time doesn't really help anyways. It just allows everybody else to fill in the gaps and maybe speculate less. So in some ways it sort of helps. But when you leave something totally wide open, you end up having a lot of speculation, and then people go down rabbit holes, and then the rabbit holes become reality for thousands of people. And then when the truth comes out, they still want the rabbit hole to be true, so then they come up with ways to make the new information fit their original. It turns into a mess. So if you're going to put information out, you might as well put out as much as absolutely possible, just leaving out a couple details that only the killer would know.
Right.
Yeah.
And poor Judy, I feel sorry for her because she knows she knows a lot more than what she can even tell.
Well, that last part that she said is pretty amazing, that the pastor's wife's on the phone and talking about this, I guess, and then he comes back and he's covered with blood, and then she just kind of hangs up the phone.
Right.
Like, wow, what the hell is that? You know, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that was reported. Did she say that had been told to the police?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that all came about, but
because that would be in their report, or I would hope it would be, and if it was reported to the police.
Yeah. My wife's in there trying to let my dog out. Because we're trying to do this crate training. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I got interrupted. But we're trying to do the crate training thing.
That's okay. Well, that's basically all I wanted to ask. I was just real curious about those other two.
Yeah, me too. When she mentioned that, I tried to find them.
I really wanted to hear more about it. I mean, what were their ages, and where was it?
Yeah.
And is there, are they getting any kind of press or,
Right. Yeah, it was, I think it was part of they were all in the same church. Maybe it got covered up or something. But let me try to get that information from Judy, and then maybe I'll make a community post on YouTube, and then we can all try to go find it. Does that sound good?
Okay.
So there's a community in my, if you subscribe to my channel, when I make a community post, I think you also get and you also have to hit the notification bell. Everybody, did you hear that? Hit the notification bell. Yeah, so you hit the notification bell, and then I think you would be notified if I made a community post.
Okay, we can do that.
Well, cool. Wait, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how old can I ask you, what age range you're in, just to sort of picture?
I'm 56.
So you're an adult at the time, 26.
Yeah.
So you probably have a better memory.
I had young children.
Yeah, so it probably really made you kind of nervous living there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I really appreciate you calling in and sharing what you know and your thoughts.
Okay. I don't really know much, but I just, I remember the case, and I always thought that, but I didn't know about the pastor. Like I say, I didn't know about anything about that until probably just in the last week or so, but I always thought it had something to do with her reporting about the drugs.
Yeah, that sounded sort of reasonable, but the thing is once you've reported, then it's sort of weird to then kill the person. I mean, I know that's sort of what drug people do, snitches have stitches, whatever the hell, the term that they use. But that seemed strange, but, you never could throw it out there because she really did, it sounds like, report something like that. But this...
And why would her mother really believe that it was the pastor? What made her mother think that it was the pastor? Did she...
Yeah, it must have been all that other information, about the...
yeah.
The blood, and it just kind of made sense. It sounds like a lot of people believe that. They just couldn't find enough evidence regarding it. And there's something about the truck, it just sort of disappeared pretty quickly, and I don't remember. I remember having a conversation about the truck.
And it seems like I also read, and this was on Facebook communication, that his truck had been cleaned to the T, and that he had a new side window or something. Judy could probably comment more about that too.
I think I do. That's part of it I remember. Wouldn't that be crazy? The side window. So that means you had the window rolled up when the bullet went through. Was it the back side window or the front side window? Because it could be the back. Well, no, it'd probably be the...
I would be thinking it would be the back, because y'all were talking about the way the bullet went from her left lobe
But she could have had her head
Out.
turned towards him. See?
Yes.
See, I think that's more likely. Because, I mean, how would you get a gunshot straight on through the left and then out the back? I mean, you'd almost have to, like, reach forward, turn your hand to the left. Now, if she was just facing you, like you said something like, hey, and you go, and then it's just,
Right.
that would have that angle, and then it would go through the side passenger window. But who knows at this point?
Right.
But if that's real information that he changed the, had the car detailed and had that window replaced, man, that's.
But like you say, there's so many crevices
Mhm.
and you know.
Yeah, there's no way to get rid of it all.
And the luminol, she talked about the luminol. Yes, you could do that, but because, the plasma or whatever in the blood, you can get rid of the blood, but that plasma stuff just stays around.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So.
See, we had good conversation. You got in extra stuff there, even at the end. All right.
Well, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for calling in. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was interesting. Well, I think I'm going to end the show now. I'm going to go rest. It's been a long day again. And I appreciate everybody for calling in and discussing this case. It's one that it never leaves my mind completely. I always kind of think about it, and then I message Judy ever so often, like, hey, what's going on, because it's in my head. This is one of the ones that Jules doesn't have to remind me about. Okay? So, I'm going to do I guess we can do a flyby if you guys want. I'm going to go back to just like Grand Canyon or something. Wait, no, I did get something sent to me. Hold on. Let's see what this looks like. I can't remember who sent it, but they wanted me to go to, like, I think it's in... Glencoe Valley. Let's see where that is. Where is Glencoe Valley? Is that in a different country or what? No, that's not it. There we go. That's what I was thinking, maybe over in the UK here. Yeah, right around in here. There we go. All right. Okay, but thank you to Barbara Smith, Holly Evans, Nona617, and Linda Howell for the cat eye donation of $50. Thank you very much. Okay, here we go. So now you guys can see the whole thing again like it used to be. perfect. Yeah. It's none of your business if they found her or not. No foul play. She was more like a beauty queen. I know. I shouldn't have tried to sing. That'd be kind of cool to live right in here, wouldn't it? You'd probably have no wind ever, right? I mean, it's like, just put a house right at the base of that thing. Of course, all the water would bust in your side of your house. Just put one right on the side right there, like a hobbit house, right? Yep, I know. We know the one who knows, or the none of your business, or whatever. We covered that earlier today. Oh, you're the one that called. Yeah, okay, good. Well, why don't you make your name that? No, you weren't the one that called. Wow, there it is. What's the name of this nebulae, everybody? Type it in. What's the name of that nebulae? Hurry up! Nobody has a clue what the name of that nebulae is? No. It's Uglaglag-Luglug. Thank you. I'm surprised none of you were able to know that I know it though, and you don't. Yeah, there you go. Oogla, Bob Blog, you know, whatever the hell. Just type in anything, all right? Yeah. Yee-hoo! Okay, everybody. Thank you for showing up tonight. Everybody who subscribed to the channel today, everybody who's contributed to the channel, calling in, all the callers. Special thanks to Judy Shank for calling in. Definitely keep on top of that one. That case, I definitely want to try to figure out if we can find. That is something I tried to find, was those other two, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it. So hopefully we can try to find those. Alright. So. Wow, I still have my old screen here. This is my old setup here. I'm in my cave again. Alright, so thanks everybody for showing up tonight. And as I always say, everybody, until next time. Oh yeah, be safe out there. Yeah. Alright, see you later.